On the talk of the Quad Cities, KQNA, it's time for AZGirlfriend with Janis Best.
AZGirlfriend is sponsored by the Freeman Eye, the Prescott Athletic and Tennis Club, Our Family Dentist, the Snugglery, and Prescott Dirt.
And now here's your host for AZGirlfriend, Janis Best.
Welcome to AZGirlfriend with me, your host, Janis Best. Our second guests are my good friend Carolyn Harris, owner with her husband Paul of the gorgeous Dickson Ranch in Skull Valley. Not only is the Dickson Ranch one of the most popular wedding venues in northern Arizona, but it's also home to the Skull Valley Polo Tournament. Carolyn's here today to tell us about the Skull Valley Polo Club Players Cup Tournament and to introduce her protege, Savanah McFarland, a 16-year-old polo star. Savanah has been riding horses for over 8 years. Her dad, Stephen, started playing after the polo party in 2013 and asked Savanah if she was interested. She gave it a try, took lessons at Westworld, and in January of 2014, Savanah was hooked. She first started playing with the adults, and through the United States Polo Association, an interscholastic team was started this year, and their first tournament was in Houston. She and her dad have 4 horses, and she's been part of several publicity campaigns for the Scottsdale Polo Party and Being the Change. She currently attends Arizona Agribusiness and Equine School in Paradise Valley.
You're listening to AZGirlfriend on the talk of the Quad Cities, KQNA. Once again, here's your host, Janis Best.
Welcome back to AZGirlfriend. And here in the studio is one of my favorite gal pals, Carolyn Harris, and her beautiful young protege, Savanah McFarland. Hey, ladies. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. Thanks for taking the time to be here.
We're thrilled to be here.
Before we get to Savanah, who, by the way, Savanah, you know, your polo playing, just like the whole concept just knocks me out. You must be like the bravest girl in the world.
Sometimes I feel that way.
Really? I mean, you know what? I think that 16-year-olds must be totally fearless.
Mostly, yeah, I believe so.
You know, I think because if you don't know kind of where you're headed sometimes, it's probably better because there's nothing to like fear. So, I mean, I just think it's like the greatest thing. But before we get to you, Savanah, let's start with Carolyn because, you know, when I tell people that there's like polo here, they go, what? So why don't we just start with polo? When and who comes and who plays, and so.
Well, before we start about our playing in Skull Valley, I want to tell you, I've done 3-day eventing, fox hunting, open jumping, endurance racing. But you get me out there on the polo field, even though I can't hit the ball, I'm scared to death.
Now, when did you like start doing all of those incredible things? I mean, were you like 16 years old, like Savanah?
No, I didn't get my first horse until I could buy it myself when I was 27.
Well, she's got 11 years on you.
And I gradually, over the years, went from one discipline to the other, just really having a good time, sometimes winning.
I think it's fascinating, though, that girls are starting everything so much younger these days. You know, I think that's amazing. And, you know, I'm such a champion. So I just have so much, admiration for people that do these incredible things without fear. But back to polo.
Okay, well, we have polo every Saturday morning at the Dickson Ranch in Skull Valley. And we have some players from Prescott. Savanah and her father, they come from New River. And we have players from Scottsdale. And it starts at about 10 o'clock and goes till about 1. And then in the afternoon or in the evenings, we have weddings there. And they don't seem to conflict. The brides like watching the polo while they're assembling their tables and such. And then the big thing of the year is our polo tournament and Texas barbecue. This year it's going to be October 3rd. And it started out as just a private little event, and we invited friends, but then the friends asked if they could bring their friends, and then the friends' friends asked if they could bring their friends. So now it is open, but it's by invitation. But if people want an invitation, they could go to our website, Dickson Ranch, go to the polo page or the contact us page, and they can get an invitation that way.
Well, I have to tell you, Carolyn, having been there last year, it was so phenomenal. You know, we brought the pickup truck and we bought our champagne and we brought it. It was such a fun day. And then the barbecue, well, forget it. It is probably the best food I have had in a long time. Paul does an amazing job.
Well, I think that's why we had 270 people there last year, and it wasn't crowded. We've got big grounds.
Yeah, it didn't feel crowded at all. And it was so warm and friendly. Yeah. I have to tell you, you know, the people that were there were so lovely. You know, we sat with some people that we didn't know, and they were just so chatty and lovely.
Well, I'm sure you were very hard to get to know anyway.
So who plays? I mean, who does this?
Well, at the Skull Valley tournament, not the tournament, just at our weekly matches.
Sure.
We have a physician, a dentist, 2 engineers, some businessmen, ex-jockeys, a roper, and a veterinarian playing. And then there's Savanah.
Oh, I knew we'd get to Savanah. But how many women in general play polo?
Oh, there's another woman. Well, she doesn't play anymore, but right. I know of one other woman. And then there's a couple young gals that are coming up that are learning in Scottsdale. And in the big time, there are quite a few women that play.
So Savanah.
One thing I want to interject.
Okay.
Among that list of players that Savanah is one of the top scorers.
Wow. You are going to have a hard act to follow here with Miss Carolyn. So why don't we start with, when did you first start to ride horses?
I started riding with both of my parents about 8 or 9 years ago. And there's a lady down the street from us, and we started taking a few lessons with her, and then I took some other lessons with another trainer. And the first time I ever got on a horse was just awesome. I felt like I knew this was something I needed to do, and it was so natural just doing all of it.
Really? Yeah. And no fear?
No fear. I was actually not scared. I was scared to jump and do running at first, but it all just slowly came to me, and it was really awesome.
Now, what do you think it is? You know, I mean, you kind of jumped on the horse, you had no fear, and then all of a sudden, polo. At any time did you think, wow, this is kind of unusual, or was it just part of your life?
I think my whole life, everything that has ever happened has just come together, and it's just put me in the position of, hey, I need to play polo. And so when I started playing, I knew this is where I needed to be.
I love that, because I feel that way. I feel like, remember those ruby red shoes in the Wizard of Oz?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so my mantra has always been, you got the shoes on, you click your heels, and you can do anything.
Yeah, I believe that.
And obviously you feel that way, so that must come from your parents.
Oh, yeah. My mom and my dad have been so supporting, and they've always been really strong and encouraged me to try new things.
Wow. So what is it like to play polo for you?
It's tiring and very hard, and especially when the Arizona weather just kicks up. It's really, really hot, but it is the best thing ever I've ever done in my entire life. It is so much fun. But there's just nothing else like it, and I can't wait to see where it takes me.
What is it like to score a goal?
Well, besides being very tired from dragging all the way from one end of the field to the other, I feel extremely happy that I was able to get through all the big pro players and score a goal, and it's an awesome feeling. It's a huge rush as well.
Wow. Now, I understand, too, that there is a team now here. Is it a high school team?
Yes, it is a high school team. It's an II or interscholastic team. We play down at Azteca Polo Club in New River. And my coach, Dan Coleman, started it about a year ago. And, he invited me and one of my good friends, Ariana, to play on the polo team and just have a spot there. And ever since then, he's been teaching us about polo and teaching us about riding different horses and, what we should be learning about.
Wow. You can be like the poster child for polo. I mean, think about it. We don't know where this is all going to go. So let's talk about your horse, okay?
Well, I want to say one thing about the poster child.
Yeah.
She's pretty, too. You can't tell that on video.
Well, of course she's pretty. And Carolyn, you feel free to chime in because you're like the godmother here of this polo player. So I have a feeling that you're instrumental in her career. So.
Not me, but the field, I think, is helping her come along.
Your field, by the way, is so gorgeous. I mean, it's not a full polo field, right?
It's about 3/4 the length of a full polo field. But the advantage is the spectators can see all the action.
I know.
If you watch a polo match in a full-size field, you really can't see what's going on at the other end, sometimes at either end.
Right. That's why we parked right in the middle, because I figured, coming from New York, it was like a basketball game, right? Or a hockey game. And so if you're right in the middle, you can just,
That's right.
I was fascinated. Okay, so back to your horse, okay? So what kind of a horse do you have?
Well, my first horse, he's Professor. He's about 12 or 13 years old. He's 17 hands high. And
that is huge.
Yes, he is.
Carolyn
very
taught
tall.
me all about hands. And that is a big horse.
Yes, he is very tall and actually a little bit unusual for polo.
Yeah.
But he's a black thoroughbred, and I still consider him my best horse, even though he's a little bit slower. But he's just calm, he's really fast, and he knows the game, and he keeps me safe. He's never tried to hurt me in any way.
Wow. How do you know you have a horse that's good at polo?
Well, first of all, I want to ask a question. Is Professor the one that you came off of that day?
Oh, no, that was Charming.
Charming.
He's a little nuthead.
Okay.
How do you know? Most horses can be taken into polo. They prefer thoroughbreds over quarter horses because you want a smooth-moving horse because you don't want to spend all of your energy balancing. Where quarter horses on the long runs, they tend to be rougher than thoroughbreds because they're bred for roping and such.
Sure.
So a thoroughbred and usually a horse 15 to 15.2 hands tall, not 17, but the horses are getting bigger these days.
Is there a advantage to having a larger horse?
I believe there is. People are a little bit intimidated when they hear you come running down the field with your horse stomping all over the place. They get a little bit pressured and they might mess up. So it's a little bit of an advantage.
I like that.
But there's one player that plays Arabs. And the little horses can maneuver a lot better than the big ones. And I kid him. I says, your horse goes under those other horses.
Right. Okay, so back to Charming. Your next horse.
Charming. He is a 6-goal pony because the ratings range from -2 to 10, being -2 being a beginner and 10 being a pro. So he's about in the middle at a 6. He is about 15.2, 15.3 hands tall, age of 12. He's thoroughbred, we think possibly Criollo breed. But he's really great. He stops and turns on a dime. He's a little bit crazy sometimes because he's just got so much energy, and he actually threw my dad off about 2 weeks ago, and my dad broke his collarbone, but now that I ride him, he's okay. He doesn't do that with me.
I wonder what that is. What do you think that is?
Women.
He likes women.
Possibly, yes.
I guess you have to have a relationship.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time with my horses, and mostly it's building trust in a relationship and letting them know that you're not going to hurt them and that, they should trust you. And I give them treats all the time, so they have to love me.
You're like the mom.
Yes, exactly.
So what is it like to play polo with adults?
Well, it's not as bad as some people think it is. At first I was just like, oh, this is so hard. I'll never be able to catch up to them. And they're just all over the place and they're so good. But now after a year and a half of playing, it's nothing to me now. It's really awesome to see the difference between a pro player and then a not so pro player that's an adult, and then me as a kid and, advantaging up into my level. But it's kind of scary sometimes because they pressure me and they don't let me go easy anymore, Before, when I was beginning, they would just let me go all over the place, but now they're like, hey, no, you can't score a goal anymore. But it's fun still.
You're part of the pack now.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you didn't ride in the tournament last year.
I did, actually.
You did?
Yes.
Huh.
I was on the blue team.
Yeah, we have 2 levels. We've got one level with the really advanced players. That's the second tournament.
Right.
And then we have the first tournament with ones that aren't quite so advanced, although she's getting close to coming into the faster tournament.
Wow. Now, would that be, I would think, would be the youngest player ever to be in that second tournament?
It is possible that, up at Skull Valley at least, I would be
Right.
the youngest kid playing in an advanced tournament.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So let me ask you something. I mean, the fact that you do this, what do your friends think?
My friends don't understand, and most of them don't ride horses. I have a lot of non-horse friends, and so when I try to tell them about it, they're like, I have no idea what you're saying. I'm just like, okay, but they think it's really cool, honestly. It's something they've never experienced or had someone that they knew that did that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've actually tried to get some of my friends to play polo, and they seem to enjoy it.
Now, what's your favorite part of the whole game?
Oh, my favorite part is everything. Everything's just great. The tacking up the horses, the getting on them and riding them and warming them up and playing and hitting the ball and, passing it to my team, riding other people off and galloping my horse down the field. That's probably my top favorite part. But everything about polo is really, really fantastic.
Oh.
I remember seeing her talk to her dad and saying, I don't know, Dad. I don't know if the horse is ready today. I mean, she looked scared, and he says, nah, he'll be fine. She got on him and did great.
Is there any point in time where you're frightened?
The only time I really get scared is if my horse really starts acting up bad. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I'm really not scared. There's just no fear inside of me. I just enjoy the play, and I know the game well, and so it helps a lot with not being so scared.
Wow. Where can you take this? I mean, Carolyn, where can she take this polo career?
I don't know. She may want to go back east and as a professional. Are you thinking of that?
Yeah, it sounds like something I would want to do. There's a lot of pros that live out there. So.
Mm-hmm. I'm from back east.
Oh, really? Where at?
You can play in the Hamptons. They have great polo there.
There was a young man named George Jr.
Uh-huh.
George Estrada. His father was George Sr., and his father was a jockey, and they both came and played in one of our tournaments about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, and George Jr. is now a professional. Mm-hmm. And I think he might have been close to your age when he played with us.
I think so, yeah.
So professionals, I mean, I would think it's probably like any other athlete. They would get sponsorships, and that's how, they would do it professionally.
They generally, you need a patron who would
also known as a patron.
Yes, who would own the team and be a player. Paul brought a man that was a patron of the. Paul brought a man into polo when he was a young man, and he was the patron of a team that won the U.S. Open this year, but he also played. That's what they do. They got to be kind of rich, but they hire players to be on their team. Mm-hmm. Also, people will hire players. Say you've got a team of 2 and you need more players, and they know somebody's pretty good. They'll hire them to come on. if you have a 10-goal team, that means the handicap of all your players has to total 10.
Got it.
So maybe she would be a 2-goal player when she started.
Right.
So they might need her number to balance out the team.
Wow.
I hope it's not too confusing.
No, ladies, it is such a pleasure to have you on the show today. And Savanah, I just want to tell you how much I admire your guts and your spunk and your polo playing. You know, I wish that I was 16 so I could play polo. And Carolyn, it's always a pleasure to have you. Endless conversation, and thanks for coming back. And I can't wait for the polo tournament.
Neither can I. Thank you.
Hey, ladies, thanks so much for coming to see us at AZ Girlfriend. I know that our listeners are definitely going to want to get their tickets for your fabulous polo tournament and see Miss Savanah in action. You can buy them by calling 928-442-3658 or go to the Van Dickson Ranch website.